You're very you look a little bit like Alistair Black. Have you ever been told that?
I've never been told that, but I'll take that. That's
I don't know if if you've never been told that, it might just be the angle or lighting or something. You've got.
No, dude, I'm gonna play on that forever now. That's it. Now you've made my day. Yeah, dude, I'm recording anyway, so I'll say big wavy Roy Johnson. Thank you for coming on, man.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for that great compliment.
Huh?
I made sure we're recording when you gave me that compliment, dude.
They always say lead with a compliment, so
Well,
for the rest of the conversation, you have to be nice to me now. So
well, this is true. I mean, I saw my brother yesterday. He told me I look like that. The Gemma Masters of the Universe with Dolph Lundgren. He said I look like the little ginger wizard guy. I was like, thanks, brother. I appreciate that. So I'll take Alistair Black all day long. I'll take that, man. But I appreciate you coming on, mate. I've been dying to get you on, so it's great to get you, man.
Oh no, thank you for having me, man.
But yeah, so I mean, obviously we'll talk progress and progress return. But I always like to talk a bit about you as well. So I mean, you were actually trained at Progress, is that right?
Yeah, I'm literally as Progress Wrestling bred as a wrestler can be. I actually started going there as a fan.
Right.
So in about 2013, January 2013, I started going to their shows as a fan. If you watch back some of the early chapter shows, I think it's the World Cup show they did.
Yeah.
Where they had Finn Balor, his first match at Progress. You can see me in the crowd. You can see me in the crowd for when FSU won the tag team titles as well. So yeah, I was a fan, Progress fan first. From 2013 and 2014, I joined the wrestling school towards the end of that year, and then 2015 I made my debut my wrestling debut at Progress. So like I have pretty strong ties to the company throughout my wrestling career, being a fan there, being trained at the school, making my wrestling debut there, and now I'm hosting. So
that's pretty special, man. That's pretty special. I mean, I'll mention him already. We spoke to Chuck Mambo a few weeks ago. And he kind of said the same thing. He said it was almost like he accidentally ended up at Progress training. He was a character, man. He was so much fun, but it was almost like he accidentally came across it, So it's I guess it's similar to you. He was a Progress trained guy. I mean, you know Chuck Mambo more than I do.
I know him a lot better than most people. He's actually a horrible person, but.
Oh man, yeah, but the way he described it was like he was almost confused that he became a wrestler. And he's like, "Do you even know what you're telling us, dude?" It was just so much fun.
Well, I mean, that's very Mambo anyway. But I kind of similarly just fell into it because I just decided one day just to go down to the school because let me try see what wrestling training's like. I'm gonna try it out one day, and I just had a look for the Progress Wrestling School because that's the one I knew that was localish, and it just turns out it was 25 minutes from my house. So I just went down there one Saturday and never looked back really. It wasn't my intention to become a professional wrestler. I just wanted to try out the training.
Yeah.
My first training session was broadcast on international TV for when they did Trans World Sport.
Oh wow!
I think it was back in 2015 or something. It might have aired. So
yeah.
So yeah, there were cameras there at my first ever training session. My first ever bump was on international TV, and Chuck Mambo was at that session as well. So
there we go. I mean, I'll be honest, I hold my hands up. I've actually tried wrestling training myself a few years ago. I'm in Hull, so we've got NGW, New Generation Wrestling.
One of my friends, he trained there for a bit. I don't know. Or I'll say for a bit, he trained there, and obviously training stopped now. So
yeah.
But yeah, one of my friends, JPR. I don't know if you know him.
Oh yeah, I know JPR. Yeah, I know him very well. Yeah, great guy.
It was actually because of him that I started going to watch Progress. In fact.
Oh really?
he's on my case to go and watch Progress, and I had no interest in watching British wrestling because I'd been to like a really stinky British wrestling family show in like 2003 or something that had it wasn't very good. Let's just say it had an intoxicated WWE legend, I won't name who came out, who wasn't booked, but who was a replacement for Gangrel, who was meant to be there. And that's who I bought my ticket to see, Gangrel. And this guy came out clearly intoxicated and did his one hit wonder and left. But so because of that, he put me off British wrestling, and Justin actually convinced me to go. And then he actually he started talking part and seas about training, and then I decided to do it a bit later. But so that's a random tidbit.
There we go. Yeah, no, I know him. Yeah, in fact, the last time I saw him was in the pub, just before we closed down. I was in there with some friends and a couple of other wrestlers called Reese and Rogan. They're a tag team over here. I don't know if you know them or not.
I've not met them. I know of them. Justin's JPR speaks very highly of them.
Yeah.
And, as does Nathan Cruz, I believe. So.
Yeah, great guys. Really great guys. I think they've got a big future. But I saw those two there. Then this car pulled up, and it was JPR. So that was the last time I saw him was actually in the pub. But yeah,
it's random for him because he doesn't drink either. So.
Well, yeah, I think he was on orange juice. To be honest, to be fair to him, he wasn't drinking alcohol. I'll give him that. But he's a great guy, man. He's a absolutely wonderful guy. But let's talk a bit of Progress anyway, man. I mean, you know, the return. You're the host. I mean, how did that come about?
So, I mean, there's a lot of conversations, obviously, going back and forth about wrestling coming back and Progress relaunching and that sort of thing. And just literally, it was like here's some dates that we're thinking of coming back. There's ideas of how they were going to come back and in what guys they were going to come back, and then like it's like, oh, we're thinking about putting you in this match, thinking about you doing this with you, and then the next call was like, oh, got an idea to run by you, see if you fancy it or not. Just do you fancy hosting Progress? And I was like, what do you mean hosting? They're like, hosting like what Jim used to do and what Matt used to do. And I thought about it. I think I thought about it for like, I said to him, let me think about it and get back to you, because there's like reassurances that I need and things I need to clear my own head, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like my main thing was like my perception of, or also the perception of my wrestling career, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like, I don't, because I have no intention of stopping wrestling. So I didn't want people to think, oh, he's retired. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like he decided out of lockdown that he's retired, or something like that. And I thought, let me just think about it, clarify a few things with myself, and then come back to you. And I just kind of weighed up the pros and cons. The pros just way outweighed the cons. In fact, there were very few. The only con was literally what I've just mentioned, is the perception that I may have retired, which I'm in complete control of. Because if I don't say the word retirement or retire or retired, I'm not retired. So it was quite an easy decision for me to come to. And that's literally it. And then obviously things happened within the economy and lockdowns and so forth, and the potential show dates kept getting moved and pushed back, and then we were meant to record something, I think it was like maybe end of last year or what have you, and then obviously another lockdown happened, and then I just thought, oh, this isn't happening. You know how you get like, nothing's going to open, we're going to be like this forever. So I just decided I'm going to eat everything over Christmas. I don't care anymore. and then Progress got back in touch and said, oh, we're going to do like TV tapings for WWE Network, COVID secure, all this sort of stuff. And they're like, oh, it's going to be like the next 3 weeks or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So yeah, and that's basically it, really. And it all came about really quickly. We did the tapings. It was, I have to admit, hosting is a very difficult job. very difficult
I
job.
can imagine. I don't envy you, man. I didn't envy you one bit.
I don't think people realise how different. And I say hosting and commentary. So I've got to big up the commentary team as well, because they're doing really, really well. And I think three of us have all been thrown in the deep end, so to speak, because like I have very little experience in hosting. I have a lot of experience talking on a microphone, so I can talk crap forever. You know, if it needs to, as proven by the Wasteman Challenge. But hosting is a completely different kettle of fish, and then it's another complete different. I can't even talk. See that? Can't talk. Can't present. It's another completely different kettle of fish when there's no fans involved at all.
Yeah.
So then you're trying to hype up people who aren't there, trying to feed off energy of people that are there, and you know, that comes across as, well, I don't know how it comes across, because like some people think it might think it's a bit try hard. Some people might think it's a bit, you know, not genuine, or what have you. But it's like it's really hard to try and get people excited who aren't with you, and there's no one in the room with you really. So it's kind of like, it's hard work essentially.
Yeah,
it is hard work.
I totally get that.
Easy when the crowds are back, but
that's it. I mean, I didn't envy you one bit, but I mean, I was going to ask you. I mean, doing that, does it make you realise? I mean, how much you're missing the fans?
Oh yeah, man. Like I never, they're like, oh, we'll do these no fan shows. I thought, oh, that'd be cool, because I've seen obviously no fans. Well, we've all seen no fans wrestling for the last year now, so get an idea of what that is and what it could be. And to be honest, that's all we really know now. The crowd, like performing in front of crowds, it seems like so far away and so long ago that the no fans thing is all we know. And but yeah, it's like talking in front of fans is way easier, way easier. You know, generating atmosphere in front of fans is way easier. Got to give it up to the guys who wrestle on these shows as well, because wrestling in front of fans is a lot easier. You know, you can really feed off them and get adrenaline off them and get energy off them, off fan noise, and there's none of that there. And people have suggested, oh, can you not get the rest of the roster to be out watching the matches and making noise? And it just doesn't. It wouldn't work. Like the Progress roster is not like deep like the AEW roster, for example, or the NXT or WWE roster, where you can have, you know, up to 100 or so people around the ring. There's not a lot of us, and also a lot of us are also working on the same shows, so it's a bit, it's a bit odd. So trying to get energy to feed off people is really difficult.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's given me an appreciation for what you guys do in the ring, though, because you know, I'm focusing more on the little things that you're doing in the ring, you know, because obviously there's no crowd there. You're focusing on that thing solely. I think the Natural Progression pay-per-view was a perfect example of that, because it gave a lot of these younger kids a go. I mean, you look at Luke Jacobs, Ethan Allen, kids like that. I mean, the future's looking bright. I mean, are they guys that you've got an eye on as well?
Oh, they're both fantastic. I just, because I'm at the tape-in, so I see everything. I've seen every match up close, and it's just like they're both phenomenal. I've not really seen much of their stuff before. I think I've been on a Progress chapter show where the Young Guns were on. I think they might have even been on pre-show. I can't remember, but I've been on the show with them, and I never got to watch their stuff. I think it's probably because they were on the pre-show, actually, because but yeah, I've heard so much about them, and I realized, I saw it the other day that I don't know if this applies to both of them, but Ethan's only been wrestling 3 years.
Wow.
It was his 3-year anniversary to his debut, like sometime this week or something. So they're just like unreal, even to like the minute details of their in-ring stuff. It's just, they're just really, really very good. And Luke especially, I watch him wrestle, and I see like Stan Hansen, I see like like even like Bradshaw kind of elements to his work, and I think he's really into that kind of like Stan Hansen. And
well, I mean, it's funny you said that, because when I was watching it with my housemate, I actually said Stan Hansen to my friend, so I totally agree on that one. That's the name that popped into my head as well.
And and they're just fantastic wrestlers, fantastic technical ability, got loads of energy. They're just superb. I haven't got anything but good to say about them. They're just both superb wrestlers, and they're gonna have a really good year. I think the fact that we're coming out of COVID, and obviously it goes without saying, Brit Rest is depleted, but it's depleted, and it's all left with like untold gems still. That now get their opportunity to showcase what they can do. And I think that's just. And like with wrestling as well, a lot of things come down to timing. It's just perfect timing for the pair of them. So yeah, I can see them having a really good year this year.
Oh, absolutely, I totally agree, man. Like you said, it's going to give a lot of people like them the opportunity. It's time for these guys to step up, and I think they're going to do it really well. Another guy, I've got to mention him as well, because we spoke to him a couple of weeks ago. It's someone I think is incredible, and that's Big Guns Joe getting a go as well.
I can't stand him. Hate him. I can't stand him. No, he's great. I love Joe. He's great.
Yeah, we saw him at WrestleGate a year or two ago, and it was just so character-wise just on point. He came out, he insulted us all. Thought he was 7 foot. It was just a thrill to watch him. And watching him now, he's got himself in ridiculous shape as well.
Yeah, unreal shape. So like the funny thing about Joe is like his gimmick worked because he was in good shape, but he wasn't in phenomenal shape. So he could, and any, not that he has any, but back then, but if he had any shortcomings in size or how his physique looked, it was head under a singlet, and that was kind of you kind of in with a joke there. But now he's just got himself in like ridiculous shape, and now it's like, why? I don't understand why you're wearing a singlet, because it's your thing, but why? Like, he doesn't need to. You can just wrestle with it. Well, I think. No, he still wrestles with the straps up, but even so, like, he just looks in ridiculous shape now. But I think he's the only guy who can pull off a gym gimmick and have it not be boring.
Yes.
Because it's one of them things. Because I know this because my first gimmick was gym related, but it doesn't resonate with fans, and he's the only person that does one that isn't ironic, that still resonates with people.
Absolutely, man. I remember the first time we saw him, we left the show talking about Big Guns Joe. He had that impact on us. He was just great. He was just it was the character, like I said. He knows what he's about, and it was just so much fun watching him. And I think he's another kid who's going to have a big 2021, 2022 in the British scene.
Yeah, he's another one where timing. The timing is going to work out so well for him. Obviously, he's known and popular on the northern scene. He might not have been seen by too many people down south, but now he's as COVID clears and we're back at doing shows and stuff, and while there's like a sea of talent who's left BritRest, he's then stepped up into this like amazing opportunity for a natural progression at Progress, one of the first British wrestling shows back after COVID on the WWE Network. What if that's not fantastic timing? I don't.
Well, no, absolutely, man. It's perfect timing. It really is.
Yeah. And it's not just timing, because he's more than ready for it.
Yeah.
So he's there ready to show people how good he is and why he's been slept on, basically. So.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you mentioned natural progression. I could get me way.
It's hard to say.
It's very hard to say, man. Yeah, it is. Obviously, Bring the Thunder as well. I mean, how important has Cara Noir been to Progress?
Well, ridiculously important, and I think it's because he's now, and he always should have been anyway. He's like a top guy within British wrestling, and he's been a mainstay. Like, people forget that he's been in British wrestling under different guys or what have you. But
yeah,
for quite a while, and he's like, and outside of his like in-ring stuff, which is just phenomenal, his character, which is phenomenal, his presence, all that stuff, which is just like real like top level. He's just a good person to have backstage because he has a lot of experience. He's good for some of the younger wrestlers to be around and to be mentored and stuff, as well as the fact that he coaches as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're aware, like he has been doing training sessions to do with like teaching wrestlers how to do like flips and stuff, and like the more acrobatic side of wrestling and stuff, which has helped a lot of people. And I think he announced in a week he was looking at doing a character workshop online, because obviously people's ability to train and stuff is limited at the moment. But that just goes to show like how important it is to have him in the scene still, because he is one of the more senior wrestlers in the roster, and he's a champion, and which means he's going to be around for quite a bit. And and Tom's a great guy as well. He's very, very approachable. He doesn't keep himself hidden away from within his circle of friends or whatever, so to speak. He's there, and he's happy to help people backstage and stuff. So it's just nice to have him there anyway. And in addition to that, he's like a class wrestler. His stuff's known, worldwide.
Yeah,
he's a very popular wrestler, and he's having an incredible run as Progress champion, going into this new era of Progress as well.
Oh yeah, man. And what I like about him as well, like you said, great entrance. He comes out, you're mesmerised, but when that bell rings, he's not afraid to kick the shit out of you, is he?
No, so he's what some people like to call it, like what's it? Sizzling steak, is that what they like to call it?
Yeah.
Sizzles your entrance.
Sizzles the steak. I know.
That's it. Sizzle no steak. Yeah. He's all sizzle and all steak. So like everything is from his entrance to his, and it's a shame that people can't see it live at the moment. But I'm sure his entrance comes off as well on the WWE Network. So
yeah. I was lucky. I saw his entrance live again at WrestleGate a couple of years ago. And it was the first time I'd seen him live, and someone says to me, "Oh, watch this," and I was just blown away as soon as he came out. Oh my God, this is incredible, because he has got a background as well, hasn't he? Has he got a background in theatre?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. It just blew me away when it came out, man. But he's fantastic, and I mean the match with Dan Maloney was just, I had goosebumps. It was just such a great match. And Maloney's another kid who's got himself in ridiculous shape and reinvented himself. There's so many to watch at the moment.
So and I think Dan as well. Like he's obviously done the right thing during lockdown, whereas a lot of people will probably go the other way and just be like, the gyms aren't open. I'll just crack open some biscuits and play on
that's the way I've gone.
PlayStation or stuff. We've all been there, but he's gone the other way and got himself in like incredible shape. And like, I think Dan's another one similar to Cara Noir, who's been around. Like you forget, like obviously Dan's quite young still, but he's been around for a long time, and he's done a lot within British wrestling. Like he's won titles at Fight Club. I think he was double champion before COVID. Obviously he was with the WWE. He did the United Kingdom tournament with me. He's done a lot, and he's been around a lot, and he's one of the people on the scene that people like look up to as well. Even like considering that he's still quite young, but people still have that respect for him and look to him as like a leader as well, especially people coming from like the Midlands scene. He's really like stepped up and taken up that kind of, I wouldn't say role or responsibility, because it shouldn't really fall on anyone to do that, but he really is seen as like someone who's kind of a pivotal, important part of that scene.
Yeah. No, I totally agree, man. You mentioned as well, obviously, the UK tournament. What was it like for you being a part of that, being a part of the WWE?
It was weird. Not weird. It was great. It was a great time. It just none of it felt real.
Yeah.
And then because it was, for me anyway, it was over quite quickly. It's like, oh, did this actually happen? And I can't take myself back to that time and remember what it was like being in that moment, because none of it seemed real. Obviously now I know it is real, and obviously because that's developed into NXT UK and what have you. Yeah, it was just a weird time, because it was the first ever. It hadn't been done before. No one knew what was going to happen afterwards. It was just odd. All I can describe was, it was like a weird dream. It was yeah.
Yeah, well,
I think it's, for me, especially because that was only my 35th match in the business. Wow. I hadn't been wrestling long at all. So for like something like that to come up and available for me to be able to be a part of, and this be a part of history as well, it just all didn't feel real. It felt very much like a weird dream.
Well, I mean, dreams do come true. But you mentioned obviously NXT UK as well. You obviously wrestled Joe. I mean, I'm sure I watched you against Joseph Connors. Am I right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what was that experience like as well? The NXT UK experience, and Joseph Connors as well was another guy who I think is a fantastic wrestler.
Yeah, I think like all round Joe's great. He can talk. He looks good. He obviously is a great wrestler as well. It was that particular NXT UK taping was quite. It just came out of nowhere. Basically, they contacted me the Monday before the show, and was like, "Hey, are you free this weekend? Or are you free?" It wasn't even a weekend actually. The taping was a Friday, so they were like, "Oh, are you free on Friday?" And I was like, "Oh." No, hang on. Sorry, it's Friday and Saturday. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, they said, "Are you free this weekend?" So Friday and Saturday. And I was like, well, and I didn't reply to this. But I was like, "Oh God, I've got a booking on Saturday." The promoter who I work for, like we have a very good relationship. So obviously he's like, obviously go and do NXT UK. Like, don't.
Yeah.
If you don't do it to work my show, I'll be more annoyed with you if you did do it. So but yeah, that came about quite quickly, and I think if I hadn't have done the UK Championship tournament, I think I would have been nervous or anxious about doing it. But because I'd been in that environment before, and it was a good God, it was a good like 2.5 years, maybe even more after the UK tournament. So I had a lot more reps under my belt, you know.
Yeah.
When I first did the UK tournament, I was 35 matches in. At this point, I was maybe 200 plus in.
Yeah.
And from that point, I say from that point, I'd always been training a lot anyway, but I'd had a lot more wrestling experience, a lot more training experience underneath my belt. So it's almost just like another day in the office. It's just like it was essentially just like another booking. So I was nowhere near as nervous and anxious about it as I was at the UK tournament. I just kind of, and also because I knew everyone there. Like obviously a lot of the guys and the women I've been on shows with, or I've trained with, or I've wrestled before and stuff. So it's like it was just a lot more comfortable environment for me. So it wasn't. It just became another day at the office, and that match went a lot better than my previous 2 matches I'd had at the company. So.
Yeah, I mean, and you look at NXT UK now as well. And when you think Shawn Michaels is the guy kind of running production for that company, I mean, the names that you can go to for advice and things, Michaels, William Regal. I mean, it's incredible for these guys, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely mad. Especially it's crazy for me anyway, especially because I was a huge Shawn Michaels fan, like growing up. He's probably one of my favorites, like all time. And like even to the point where I bumped into him after WrestleMania 24. He was on my flight flying from Orlando to Texas because my parents lived in Texas at that time.
Yeah.
I've got a picture of him somewhere where I kind of waited after we got off the flight to get a picture of him. So, and now then I fast forward what's it? I don't know, 11 years or so. Like I'm wrestling on a wrestling taping, and he's he's there producing it. It's weird. Just
it's
like,
surreal, man.
Weird stuff like that.
Yeah, it's surreal. It really is. But you touched as well. You mentioned obviously the women progress as well. I mean, the women's scene is thriving as well. Obviously, Millie McKenzie was at Progress, Mercedes Blaze, Lana Austin, Kanji. I mean, how great are the women doing as well at the moment? I mean, we're speaking to Mercedes in a couple of weeks. Who I think is going to make a big name for herself as well.
Yeah, she's destined for great things. Mercedes Blaze. I'm adamant that she'll sign a big contract this year.
Yeah.
I just think like the sky's the limit for her. She looks great. Her ring gear is outstanding.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone like on TV or even on not who has better ring entrance gear than she does. She's a tough girl. She's like her in-ring stuff's like really hard hitting, and she has character and charisma. She can talk. I think she can speak like multiple languages as well. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure she's told me this. She has like all the tools to be a real asset to a television company. She never shuts up, but but yeah. In fact, I spoke to her the other day and just kind of reiterated to her how this is going to be a big year for her. So, and you see it already, the stuff she's doing at Progress is just like it's almost effortless how good she is.
Yeah. That's it. We're speaking to her about a week and a half. So I'll make
clear a few hours.
Yeah.
Clear a few hours.
I'll clear it, mate. I'll have nothing else on that night. Before I start to wrap it up as well, there's one guy I want to ask you about because it's someone you hear so many good things about, but I've never actually had a chance to speak to somebody who's worked with him. Just how good is Rampage Brown?
Oh God, he's phenomenal. First I've wrestled him twice. The first time I wrestled him was kind of like a dream match of mine in terms of the UK scene, because he's one of the first people I watched at Progress. I think he was Progress champion at the time when I started going to watch Progress. I think, pretty sure. Yeah, he was. He lost the title to Mark Andrews. Anyway, so seeing him back then, and he was like one of the wrestlers who I probably resonated more with because he worked a heavyweight style, and then that'd always been one of my top matches that I really wanted to have on the Indies was with him. And then when I was given the date for that show, I wasn't aware I was working Rampage Brown until the graphic went out. So then that became a big deal. I had a really like hard hitting match with him, like really hard hitting. And then I got to work him not by accident, but it like on my own show basically when I did Everything Patterned in 2019. Unfortunately, the OJMO had to pull out, which it was due to be me versus him in the main event. So OJMO pulled out on, I think, the week of or the week before the show, and Wrestling Resurgence were like, we've managed to get Rampage Brown as a replacement. And I was like, cool. And then I remembered how hard hitting and stuff he was, and then our second match was equally hard hitting, and I couldn't walk very well for a couple of days afterwards because he battered me. But I gave it him back as well. So, but yeah, like fantastic. I really hope I get to work him again at some point. Obviously, he's now on NXT UK and he's doing great stuff on there. He's really great to watch on TV. and I know he's very well respected within British wrestling scene, and people who are coming up or may not have been on the scene too long. A lot of people look to him as someone they want to wrestle.
Yeah.
He's like a dream Brit Wres match for a dream Brit Wres opponent for a lot of people. So I'm lucky that I've got to work him a couple of times. Unfortunately, both times he's beating the crap out of me, but hopefully the third time I might be able to get my own back. We'll see.
Repay the favour, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I personally would like to see him take the belt off Walter. I think he's the perfect guy to do it. I really do. So fingers crossed, man. But yeah, before I let you go, mate, I mean, is there anything you want to plug? Social media, merchandise, progress?
Yeah, of course. So if you wish to find me on social media, God knows why, because I do tweet a lot of rubbish at the moment, so I don't have much to talk about. My social media is at Roy Johnson. Yeah, that's on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You type that in to any of those 3 wonderful platforms, you'll find me on there. If you are so kindly, also so that way inclined, you want to purchase some merch from me, my merch can be found at royjohnsonyeah.bigcartel.com. That's my own personal store, or you can find my stuff at On The Gear. If you just go into the search function, select Roy Johnson. I have a selection of t-shirts on there. I have a selection of t-shirts, wristbands and stickers and stuff on my own merch. So both of those are official, we'll say, places to get merch from me. You shouldn't get bootleg Roy Johnson merch anyway. That'd be weird. I have actually seen someone sell bootleg merch of mine, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I got that closed down, so that was good. But yeah, that's where you can get my merch and stuff. Obviously, money's tight for everyone, so I'm not going to beg and plead for people to buy my merch. But if you do, it'd be very greatly appreciated. Things to plug: Progress Wrestling on the WWE Network. When's this going out? This podcast?
Probably in the next few days. It's Callum who edits it, so as soon as he knows, I will drop you a message and let you know.
Well, if this show goes out before Saturday the 13th, 13th of March, we have chapter 106.
106.
105. I think 106. I think you're right. 106. But anyway, the next chapter, Stick a Pony in My Pocket, which is a reference to Only Fools and Horses, which is because we're doing the tapings in Peckham, so we had to get an Only Fools and Horses reference there. Had to. That's going to be on the WWE Network this coming Saturday, the 13th. Now, if this show goes out a couple of days afterwards, obviously that will still be on the WWE Network, so you can still go and watch it there. But however, the following show will be on the 27th. So yeah, they're going to be running fortnightly currently. So yeah.
Excellent, dude. Yeah, I will speak to Callum. We'll try and get it up before the 13th. But Roy, it's been an absolute pleasure, man. You're doing a wonderful job, dude. I can't wait to see more what's coming. But for now, Roy Johnson, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, man. Take care.